they're starting right now. So, as you see, they're going through the standard start sequence of Link to the Past. The difference, however, is going to be what they get from Uncle.
We have some literacy to start in Link's house. Now, we saw that Uncle was not carrying a sword, so we're going to be guaranteed that it won't be a sword that Uncle has. It will be another item that they will need to use to get through the escape sequence.
Considering they got the book so early, I'm kind of hoping they get the Fire Rod, mainly because that starts pointing towards an early desert play.
Certainly would make sense, but we have Hammer to start.
Now that is still a very nice weapon since it does tempered damage. The only issue is its range and swing speed is a little bit off if you haven't practiced it yet. But both these racers so far showing they are comfortable with the hammer on these green guards as they start farming up bombs.
Right. Hammer being a permanent weapon that you don't need to have any sort of ammo for is going to help out. Now, we will want to farm at least one bomb while the runners are going through the escape sequence so they can get the 3 chests in the back of the escape and not have to come back. The Chrouya didn't bother with trying to farm the bomb, and Odinspack is certainly looking for it. We got a big 20 to start in the escape sequence.
Admittedly, with the number of snakes and rats that are in the sewers portion, I suspect Chrouya might start farming after they get the last item in Zelda's chest, because at that point, there's really only one other chest left that could have bombs.
Yeah, that certainly would make sense. Got a map. So, with this being a standard mode and not using the Key Sanity variant, we will have the dungeon items are going to be in these same dungeons that they are in, just randomized within the rest of the rooms. So, finding that map, and the only other dungeon item in here is a small key. We're going to find it in one of the 2 chests before the locked door in the sewers. So, once we find that key, everything else will be items going forward. And there's that small key.
Yep. And again, one nice thing with the hammer is, thankfully, it only takes 2 hits with the hammer to be able to down that ball and chain guard, or 1 pot throw and a hammer swing, as Odinspack just showed.
Now, Zelda might be want to be a little careful here, because it is Ganondorf that is going to be leading her out of the escape sequence.
True, though that is going to be weird later on, having Ganondorf taking on Ganon.
Meanwhile, Chrouya is using the Luigi sprite, which is always a fan favorite.
And there we go, Chrouya now starting to farm up bombs as he goes past these green guards towards the sewer escape. Neither runner has found a bomb yet, though, so hopefully either they both get one or they will have to come back at some point later, probably after they get the gloves.
We'll give a shout out to Coding Witcher for the 10-bit donation. Thank you very much. Sasha 1124, this is a 1-in-1 match. Alright, so Chrouya is into the dark portion, and as you had said, with all those ropes there, there's a bomb drop.
Alright, and that looked like it was the first drop from the Snake Prize Pack, so Odinspack should also have bombs shortly, and there are our first gloves.
So you're hoping we make our way over to Desert. That Power Glove will certainly help us get over to Lamulus, so just need a fire source, and Desert is full clearable.
The only caveat would be if the key they need is on that torch.
That would be the one caveat.
Of course, given everything else they've been getting, at least if it was me, I would still consider doing Desert Palace at this point, after checking South Hyrule, most likely. But we'll see what these runners do as Chrouya gets the lamp and not too much else from the back of Escape.
I mean, that Arrow of Destiny is something. You're going to need it to kill Ganon.
Well, they'll need it if they can silver it, that is.
That is true. Alright, so Chrouya is going to be the first one out. We're going to see what we have here in the Sanctuary chest. It is a bottle of red goo, and at this point, the world is your oyster.
Yep, and thankfully, they both have 6 bombs, and they'll both have a bottle. So, yeah, Chrouya heading towards probably Lost Woods and Kakariko will be able to get all the items except for what's on the library bookshelf in Kakariko.
Although Chrouya is not bothering with Lumberjack Cave, he's just going straight for Lost Woods.
Admittedly, from what I've been seeing, it seems like Lumberjack these days is a 50-50 shot of whether or not a racer will do it. It is technically a little bit faster to do what Chrouya's doing, since you won't be able to get what is on Lumberjack Ledge until much later in the seed, potentially. But as what's going on with Odinspack right now, he's going to be able to check what the bush crabs have and get 2 different tree pulls, potentially, while also being able to know, okay, I do need to kill Aga, or knowing, okay, I potentially don't need Aga this seed. And bush crabs given 20 rupees, so money should not be a problem this time.
Yeah, it's a very rich seed to start. But let's see what we have here at the Lumberjack Cave. It's just a big 20, so at least in terms of that part of the Aga dream, it is dead, but we still may need it for Dark World access. Although, to be fair, at this point, we're just a Moon Pearl away. We also got a map check. Eastern is a non-5/6 crystal, and the red and blue pendants are at Desert and Hera. We got some fashionable footwear, as well as a bow in the blind side, as well as a piece of heart. So actually, finding that bow, words.
Yeah, with that bow and lamp, Eastern is an option, and since it was shown to be a crystal, that actually may be where Chrouya goes instead of what I was hoping for doing the desert play. Though getting the shovel in the well is very good as well, since that's another quick check to do as you're leaving Kakariko if Chrouya so chooses. And it looks like Odinspack is actually doing an early pedestal check for us.
I mean, we got that book. Let's see what we got. Just pocket change.
Alright, and Chrouya managing to get blue mail from the bottle vendor. Not too bad for 100 rupees, all things considered. Almost doubles your life pool.
Sorry about that mic problem. I don't know why. Usually when it's fine when the race starts, it stays fine the rest of the race, so I don't know what happened there. Sick Kid just giving us a big 20, though.
And the tavern having flippers, so no need to fake Flipper, and with really both Flippers and the lamp, there's not going to be too much in the way of sequence breaks this race.
No, not necessarily. The only thing really we need left in terms of mobility is just the flute.
Comes back, finishing up their northern Kakariko checks, as Chrouya looks like they are opting to go over to eastern, which does make sense given that they have the bow and the lamp, so it is fully in logic.
All right, well, let's see what we have here in Sahasrah's closet. We got a 5-bomb upgrade, $100 and $20.
Now, I wouldn't be surprised if, after Eastern Palace, unless Chrouya finds something that radically changes routing, I suspect they'll probably end up doing South Hyrule check and then probably Pendant Desert Palace at this point, because they do have everything they need to clear it.
Yeah, basically, except for either the mirror or the hook shot to get the Hera, all of the Light World dungeons are accessible at this point.
And an early big key in Eastern Palace, that's always nice to get out of the way early, because then you know you may be able to get the perfect Eastern Palace where you get all the items without needing to go to the vanilla big chest, or big key chest.
I mean, but having that lamp there certainly isn't going to be an issue trying to navigate the dark room. Although the ones here in Eastern are pretty much the easiest ones that are in the game.
Yep. Meanwhile, Odinspack is using that shovel to see what we have at the dig spot, and it is the Pearl.
Wow, okay, we already have Dark World access.
So, I suspect we're going to have a big route divergence at this point, as until Chrouya goes and uses that shovel, they're not going to have that Pearl. So they'll be doing Overworld, Light World checks first, I suspect.
Yep, we're going to see what we have here at the dam. $300 in the dam. We have a map in the big chest in Eastern Palace. And just 10 arrows once you drain the swamp. Odinspack is going to pick those up anyway.
Since they're heading towards Mini Moldorm, I'm assuming they're picking them up because trying to kill the Mini Moldorms with hammer is always dangerous. So they'll probably be trying to kill them with the bow, I suspect.
Yep, we got a big 20 in the vanilla big key chest in Eastern Palace. Odinspack going to switch to bombs, but both of those troll arms get away from it.
Meanwhile, Chrouya making quick work of Eastern Palace, just getting that Igor and the key very efficiently, and will soon be at the Armos Knights.
Odinspack finally getting all those mini Trolldorms dead. We got a piece of heart. We got a heart container. We got another piece of heart. Titan's mitts and an ice rod.
So looking like so far, at least early game, doing the overworld checks was the better play to do, but Chrouya at least won't have to worry about Eastern later on. If Pod ends up being a pendant, this will still be very efficient, and looks like they're setting up and going for the quick kill and getting the quick kill on Armos.
Just 20 bucks for your troubles, but the first crystal of the game at 15 minutes in. An Ice Rock Cave giving us half magic, so man, this overworld is loaded so far.
And with Odinspack jumping into the water, I suspect they're going to be slowly making their way over towards Zora, since they do have all the money for it, and that is another 4 items they'll be able to get, in addition to potentially checking out what the Bridge Camper has and what is on Lake Hylia Island.
We're also going to see Bonk Rocks from Chrouya here. And it's just triple bombs.
And it looks like Chrouya, now that they have the boots, are making their way to check Lumberjack Cave.
Hobo having a heart container. Chrouya seeing that big 20 that we already saw from Odinspack. And speaking of Odinspack, heading, I imagine he's going to see Lake Hylia Island here and then head up to the Waterfall of Wishing. And just another heart container there. Chrouya is going to head up to Death Mountain.
Now that's an interesting play for me, since effectively there are 3 items that Chrouya can get here right now. Unless they find the hookshot or the mirror, they won't be able to get anything else over here. While admittedly, Desert would be the same number of items with Agina's Cave factored in as well. So hopefully this pays off for them.
Yeah, and that mirror was actually in the Waterfall of Wishing, so when Odinspack heads up to Death Mountain, he'll be able to do almost all of Light and Dark World Death Mountain except for Spike Cave and the majority of Hookshot Cave.
Yeah, and admittedly, it's probably a good thing for Chrouya that they didn't find the hookshot up here, because they do need to go use that digging spot to get their pearl. As basically all the checks they do before then is going to lead them away from that pearl and accessing basically the other half of the game.
And Odinspack finding a fighter sword when you pay Zora 500 bucks. And Odinspack's going to go ahead and head over to the Dark World with that Moon Pearl, and I imagine we're going to get a Hype Cave check here pretty shortly.
Yeah, since Odin has both the Hammer and Titan's Mitts, I like this routing because it gets you so many items before you end up heading to Thieves Town, Skull Woods area, so you could find the Fire Rod if you need it. Meanwhile, Chrouya setting up for a Houlihan, it looks like.
We got a piece of heart to start at Hype Cave. We have red mail, 20 bucks, 10 arrows, and 50 bucks. So, meh.
Red mail is nice, but I suspect neither of these runners really need it. It'll help them out for things such as Mothula only dealing, I think, maybe half a heart if it hits you, but things like the spikes, fireballs, and whatnot are still going to do a heart of damage, and they only have, it looks like, well, Odin only has about 7, it looks like, while Chrouya has only 4 still.
We got a map check from Odinspack. The green pendant was at Thieves Town, and then we had 5-6 crystals at Swamp and Ice Palace, and the rest were all crystals, so... Thieves Town certainly is the one dungeon that's full clearable right now, but being a pendant, that will certainly weigh on the mind. Ice Palace would be the one that, well, no, you could do Pod, and Ice Palace would be close as long as you have a Fire Rod or Bombos coming up.
Yep, though, since it looks like Odinspack is heading to Pod, actually this is great for them because they'll get both Pod and Eastern done, one right after the other. So in terms of efficient routing, this is going to work out even more so in their favor. I think they may end up heading up to Death Mountain after these 2 checks, unless they find something worthwhile, since Death Mountain has the most item locations that Odinspack will be able to get at this point.
Yes, this will be a nice combo of Pod and Eastern with having the mirror. And away we go.
Meanwhile, Chrouya is doing the Bridge Camper and Zora checks. They'll be getting their swords soon, but they really need to use that shovel.
Yeah, and so far ignoring Ice Rod Cave, which does have half magic, so it would help, but not necessarily a all that important right now.
Yep. Admittedly, thankfully for Chrouya, outside of whatever might be in the desert area, they're going to be running out of really locations that they can check that will allow them to miss the Pearl any longer, since none of the items they'll be getting actually give progression in any way at this stage.
I mean, the mirror obviously won't help until you get to the Dark World. I mean, it would help getting up to Death Mountain, but I mean, to your point, he's gotta go dig up that shovel spot.
Yep, and admittedly, I had forgotten the mirror was in there, so that does... Hopefully he doesn't choose to go back up Death Mountain for his second trip yet.
Ooh, Odinspack getting bonked by the by those beetles there. It looked like Chrouya was going to head for the dig spot and then realized instead he's going for Death Mountain.
This could be nice if Chrouya finds sword upgrades or something like that. Admittedly, I can't think of any possible items Chrouya could get from here, though, that would give them progression. There are definitely things that will give progression later on, but they do require that pearl, so it'll at least keep on forcing Chrouya towards that dig location. And looks like just a shield on the ether tablet.
Alright, so we got Chrouya heading into Pendant Hera. Odinspack is continuing on into Crystal Pod. We had a question from Hypebeard. How does one practice the randomizer version of this? Well, if you go to vt.alttp.run, you can download, as long as you have the emulator in the ROM yourself, you can download as many all the different seeds as possible and just play and just play the game and get better at it. That's what a lot of us do, and you know, it's free to everyone to download and enjoy. We got a piece of heart in Hera. And a heart container in the chest, so Chrouya is going to nope out, having found the 2 items in Hera.
Yep, I don't think they did a pedestal check, but I can still understand gambling that PED is not going to be required this early on. Especially because, thankfully, getting back, though climbing up to Moldorm is annoying, defeating Moldorm later on, if he ends up getting Tempered Sword or something, will be a little bit easier than trying to do hammer strats.
We're gonna get Spiral Cave from Chrouya. We got a piece of heart in the big chest. And I actually missed that. Was that Fire Rod that Odinspack found in the Dark Maze?
Yes, it looks like it was.
All right, so we have another question from Coding Witcher asking, when setting up bomb jumps, players always do a sword spin before. Why is that required? It mainly is helping in terms of getting into the pixel perfect location, because a lot of them, you need to be in the specific pixel in order to bomb it, and being in the sword spin charge helps you with getting into that right position.
Right, because with the sword spin, you go up towards the pit, release the button, and immediately press the opposite direction, and the sword spin should push you out of the pit and be at the absolute edge of it, giving you that best shot of making it across that pit.
So, Death Mountain coming up a big bust for Chrouya, unfortunately.
And it looks like they are deciding to make the desert play. Or... Okay, yes, they are making the desert play. For a second, I thought they were going to try going into the Dark World through the portal already.
Yeah, Chrouya really needs to go back to the shovel spot. We know that's where the Moon Pearl is.
Now, the one thing that could help Chrouya right now would be if Desert has something major like Flute or Hookshot, or even the Red Cane, because at this point, I don't think Odinspack will be checking Desert at any time in the near future.
Yeah, because with getting that Fire Rod, Ice Palace is certainly available to Odinspack at this point. Swamp are really just a hook shot away from.
Yep, and Skull Woods is also available. So they've got a lot of options. I suspect they'll still be doing Eastern first, but I am curious, where will they head after Eastern? And making good use of that bow to get Helmasaur King down.
Only having a map, we got a mushroom in Desert.
I suspect that mushroom will be staying in Chrouya's inventory for a while.
Odinspack predictably is going to head into Eastern Palace.
And since there is an item left in here, it looks like Chrouya is opting to go all the way and defeat Land Mollusk.
Now we know there's also a heart container on the desert ledge. I don't know if Chrouya will pick that up. He was at 4 hearts for a while earlier, but he's certainly picked up the health in the last little bit.
Yep, and since he already has blue mail, he's probably going to opt not to pick up any more heart containers or pieces of heart if he can see them at this point.
Yeah, for those of you that just joined us, the first item we got was the book, so we've already had a ped check and just pocket change there. So we know the Aga Dream is dead and the ped Dream is dead.
Yep, and we also do know that Ether Tablet has just a shield, so Odinspack doesn't know that yet, but there's not going to be anything useful there. Bombo's Tablet could have something, but it's probably going to be a long time before we see what's on that tablet.
All right, so Chrouya is going to head into Lamulus. Electing to use Ice Rod strats to get Lamulus frozen. Got 2 of them down. Ran out of magic before getting the last one taken care of. But there we go. And unfortunately, just a piece of heart for his trouble, so both of these pendant dungeons have come up snake eyes for Chrouya.
Yep, and at this point, I think Chrouya only has 3 options left. I think Dig Spot, Mushroom, and the option that I really hope he doesn't do of Aghanim.
We also have a Genus Cave here that we haven't seen yet. Ooh, and silver arrows in a Genus Cave.
Now, that could help Chrouya catch up later on, because we do need to kill Vitreous, who is very much susceptible to silver arrows. If Odinspack doesn't pick that up, they'll have to do Silverless Ganon, which buys a bit more time for Chrouya. And Chrouya, proving me wrong, I forgot about King's Tomb.
Yeah, with those Titans mints, it certainly is checkable, and just $20. So Freck Out has donated 250 bits. He's hoping that the next is a Pedestal C, but thank you for the bits.
Alright, and I was mistaken. Chrouya is actually doing the mushroom before the shovel. Meanwhile, Odinspack is on to Armos.
And it has the Master Sword. The mushroom has it, I'm sorry. That, you really gotta hope Chrouya remembers about that shovel, because otherwise that could lead him to Aga, and he's going for Aga.
Oh, look, Chrouya, your inventory, it's right there. It's not hidden behind the flute. Meanwhile, Odinspack has collected their second crystal in Eastern Palace, and heading back into Dark World, it looks like. They're going to be checking Sahasrahla. before they decide where to go next, which makes sense considering the way they got into Eastern Palace.
Yeah, he hasn't seen what's in the closet just yet.
Well, it's not a required dip into Agnim, but this is giving the viewers an Agnim run at least.
That's putting a silver lining on it.
Admittedly, the one thing this will give Chrouya is if they want to do a pyramid check, or if they need to do the pyramid ferry, technically the gate in front of Hyrule Castle can be a little bit more accessible than the one south of Eastern Palace until you get the flute at the very least. And for those who have recently joined us, the Moon Pearl is at the dig spot, which Chrouya has not yet checked. They've opted to do Aghanim instead of checking that dig spot.
And he has the shovel, so he's had it for a while, actually.
And looks like Odinspack is checking the boots-locked locations in Light World first.
Yeah, so we've seen from Chrouya already that they didn't have much, but sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
Oh, no worries. I was just saying I am still very curious as to where they are going to head next, but it does look like a Village of Outcasts and Skull Woods areas where Odinspack is heading next. I'm going to assume they're going to... Well, they might go up to Skull Woods. They do only have a fighter sword, and fighter sword Mothula can be intimidating, but no, they are making their trip up there.
And Odinspack was the one that checked the Ice Rock Cave for the half magic. Now, I forgot, how many blue balls do you think we're going to have in this completely unnecessary Aga fight?
I'm going to hope for none. Just to help Chrouya. Oh,
there's one.
Wrong.
And two. Alright, there's a normal one, so we're at 2-2. This is required lightning. There's 3. And
I'm hoping I didn't jinx it. Too bad. I jinxed it way too badly.
Yeah, there's 5. Oh, only 5.
Admittedly, I was worried that after that next set, it was going to be another 1 guaranteed and then 3 blue balls. Unfortunately, Chrouya not going to find the pearl on the pyramid like he's hoping.
He's instead going to find 20 bucks.
And yep, if you have defeated Aghanim 1 and have the mirror, when you save and quit in Dark World, you start on the pyramid, so that actually might cause more problems for Chrouya down the line. But it looks like they've remembered the shovel.
Chrouya is not going to feel all too happy once he sees what's in that dig spot.
Meanwhile, Odinspack bring the Unfortunately, the statue is just a little bit too far to the left to hit that button, so they're going to have to bring it down and pull it back a little bit.
Having to make sure he stays out of the way of that wall master. Alright, we got a B-Torp in Skullwoods. He's gonna get the full magic refill in here and then mirror back to head over to the Mothula portion. For those asking, Master Sword was at the Mushroom, which Mushroom was in Desert Palace. Pendant Desert Palace, I should add. Okay, and Chrouya is doing that map check that we've already seen from Odinspack.
Now, Odinspack does have to still be a little careful on Moth, even though they do have the red mail. With the 5 hearts they currently have, they can only afford to get hit by the spikes a couple of times, since they will still do a heart of damage each.
Having that half magic will help, though, because it gets you a lot more fire rod shots.
Yep, though I believe Fire Rod on Moth does the same damage as a Master Sword Slash or Fighter Sword Spin, so it'll still take 10 confirmed hits, which Odinspack does get nice and cleanly in the end.
A very nice fight for 20 bucks and a crystal.
Thankfully, though, with the way Odinspack ended up routing this, they get to skip all other chests in Skull Woods.
Which, realistically, he's checked all of them except the one in the back.
That is true.
Alright, so for Odinspack, Ice Palace is certainly in play. Swamp Palace you can get in, but until you find the hook shot, you can't finish. And Pendant Thieves Town is available if you feel so inclined to do so.
Yeah, and there is always the risky play of going into Swamp Palace, hoping the hook shot is in there, which it sometimes can be, but...
I mean, that's certainly the thing I've been seeing with version 29, is a lot of times, pendant dungeons will have useful items, but so far, other than the mushroom, if you consider that, because that gets you the Master Sword, there hasn't really been a lot in these pendant dungeons so far.
Yep, meanwhile, Odinspack is making a graveyard-led check, which I can understand that, since with Skull Woods being completed, you'll probably never come back here.
Graveyard Ledge just having a heart container.
And looks like Odin is heading towards the Village of Outcasts, so we'll at least get the 3 items around here checked. I'm not sure if he'll go into Thieves Town or not. It is 4 potential items, but I do suspect he'll be doing the, blacksmith check soon.
Yeah, because with having Mirror and Titan's Mids, you can do everything over in that southeast part of Kakariko. Odinspack is going to open up Thieves Town, but not electing to go in just yet. We have another heart container in the brewery house.
Yep, meanwhile, Chrouya is going into the Dark Maze, so they'll be getting their Fire Rod shortly.
There is that Fire Rod as Odinspack heads over to the digging game.
And Chrouya taking a Death Warp to refill those hearts, since they were a little low, and that does make sense. Digging Game just giving the vanilla piece of heart, though.
For all of those digs.
Admittedly, I lost count, but I think it was pretty close to the max 30.
Yes, in Randomizer, it is... the digging game has the same number of digs for both runners so that the RNG doesn't favor one over the other. Stumpy just having a big 20, and now we're going to see South of Grove Cave. And we have found a cane belonging to a man named Brian.
Not necessarily required, but it does put things such as Spike Cave and Laser Bridge in logic. And looks like Odin is doubling back to get the frog. Probably also checking Hammer Pegs next.
Gonna go save Jeremiah the Bullfrog and take him back home.
So even though Chrouya did check Aghanim, or did go through all of Aghanim, the fact that he has silvers and a Master Sword, while Odin still hasn't found a sword upgrade, does help Chrouya out, as he may be able to still make up some of that time that he's lost.
That is certainly a thing we'll have to keep in mind as the race develops.
Yep, and actually, Chrouya making good use of those silvers right there. Just one shot to the head, and Helmasaur is down, while I believe it took Odin 6 or 8 arrows to do the same thing.
And Odinspack is going to go ahead and into Thieves Town.
Meanwhile, Chrouya opting to take the long way out from Pod. I'm guessing this means they're going to be... Actually, I'm not sure what they'd be checking other than catfish at this point by leaving this way. And Hookshot is in Thieves Town, apparently, so Thieves Town is a required pendant dip.
No, like I was saying, that's certainly what I've seen in version 29, is at least one pendant dungeon is going to have something of value. We also have Fisher Price My First Shield in Thieves Town.
And I must say, I do enjoy how Ganon's bunny sprite is a small pig form Ganon.
Catfish just having 10 arrows. Having the useless trash like he usually does.
Odin unfortunately getting a little trolled by those starfish in that hellway. So at this point, I believe Odin is put somewhere between 3 and 4 items away from go mode, actually, because we don't know what coins we need. He needs the flute to get into Mire, and we need the red cane for both Mire and Turtle Rock.
Yep. And we've already had a ped check, so we know we're not going to find any of that on the pedestal. And we got a shout out for Oyster SA with a Twitch Prime sub. Thank you very much.
You know, Chrouya is making their Skullwoods dip. I didn't... Oh, go for it.
No, I was just gonna say that Pendant Thieves Town dip is certainly looking more nicely with that Cane of Samaria in there. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump on you there.
Oh, no, no worries. Admittedly, I haven't counted fully. At this point, does Blind have one of the remaining 2 dungeon items, or do they have a third, potentially even more loop? Making this dungeon even better to run is what I'm trying to say.
I honestly lost count because I've been, you know, having to switch between both runners. All right, just 2 more hits, and we will find out momentarily. It was a compass, so we had all 4. Odinspack's just going for the green pendant. Nagalum99 giving us a tier 1 sub for 6 months in a row. Thank you very much.
So with that hookshot and Cane, everything in Ice Palace is 100% in logic at this point. Swamp Palace is fully in logic, so the Bomb Fairy could have something as well, though actually I think a Death Mountain play might be needed soon just to see what medallion is going to be needed for Turtle Rock, because with the exception of that medallion, Odin could clear Turtle Rock as well.
Yeah, personally, at this point, I would probably head for Swamp Palace next after turning in this lunchbox, and then probably head to Ice Palace right after that.
Yep, and admittedly, since you'll be right there, I could also see Odin checking what is on Bombos. Meanwhile, Chrouya doing a pedestal check and probably being disappointed that they've cleared so much of Pendant Dungeons, though they did opt to skip killing Moldorm, so at least they have that comfort of knowing that was the right call.
However, Chrouya, for those that just joined us, did Aga 1 when he didn't need to. The dig spot had the Moon Pearl, so he is already going to beat... Whoa, we have Ether on Bombos.
Alright, so that could be important if either Meyer or Turtle Rock require it, though there is still that chance that neither of them actually need it.
However, as I was saying earlier, with Chrouya being behind for doing Aga 1 when not necessary, the thing is, the mushroom is where he got his Master Sword from, and that was in Desert Palace, so, you know, depending on where those other two sword upgrades are, that could give Chrouya a bit of an advantage, at least having the Master Sword right now.
Yep, and even more so, if Odin only finds one of the swords and never checks Agina's cave, he may be in for the worst Ganon fight of Silverless Master Sword.
All that to say, this race is certainly far from over. Oh no. Except Chrouya just left Thieves Town without getting the Cane of Samaria.
Oh, that's going to hurt him. Admittedly, I remember watching Racer yesterday making the same call of I found progression in the front. I'm going to gamble that the back doesn't have anything. And with Chrouya definitely feeling behind at this point, I can understand where their thinking is coming from. It's just they're going to be kicking themselves when they realize they should have at least kept on going to get that cane.
And the thing about that race yesterday, if it was the same one that I commentated, there were 3 items in there, and that particular runner ended up triple dipping Thieves Town when he only had to do it once.
And looks like Odin is opting to, at least get the key on left side first. I'm not sure if they're going to do a full left side check before going to Argus.
We will see based on where he turns once he gets back into the main room. He's going south first, so that decision will be delayed for the moment.
Yep, but since they're going south right now, I suspect that's indicating they will be going to Argus first, and they just want to prevent themselves from accidentally flooding the key.
Certainly is a wise move.
Or they could prove me completely wrong.
That's also possible.
Chrouya, meanwhile, is making their the rest of their southern Dark World checks. Hopefully they do head back to Thieves Town at some point, but with what they have, they're probably going to be heading towards Swamp Palace, because that is clearable for Chrouya as well right now.
So T-Fray7 asking, what happens if you flood the key? Basically, you're soft locked from finishing the dungeon, and you have to go out of the dungeon and go off one screen to basically reset it so you can get it again.
Admittedly, I think in the recent version, they ended up changing it, whereas when you head out, that room ends up emptying out, and the only thing that resets when you move a screen away now is the first flooded room. Well, technically both would at that point because you've left the dungeon and moved, but admittedly that's one thing that I myself need to confirm because I have been known to flood that key by going on autopilot.
Chrouya is about to get that Ether Medallion, having that Master Sword that Odinspack doesn't have. All right, we got a red meringue in the big chip. So right now we're gonna have both runners in Swamp Palace. And so far not finding much in Swamp Palace, to be honest. We still have 4 locations here in the back, but so far, not much.
Hopefully for Odin, they find a sword soon, because even though it is in logic, Fighter Sword Cold Stare is not a fun fight, though they did just get Quake, so we know where 2 of the 3 medallions are.
We have a heart container there.
Now, I'm curious to see, will Odin decide to play the menu boss or go with spin strats? And the answer is menu boss.
Menu Simulator 2018 is in full effect.
Admittedly, I think the Fighter Sword spin ends up being a little bit faster than doing this, but if you're more comfortable with this, that in and of itself could make this even faster for the personal runner. Odin is making good work with the menu, though, going the fast just 1-2 route since they don't have bombos yet, so it's a lot faster to just go down to the shovel and over to hammer, and then over to shovel and back up again. So they are still making good time, even though they're doing the item method, or menu method.
All right, down goes Argus.
And with that quiver upgrade, I believe that is everything in Swamp Palace. So no progression in Swamp, really.
Nope.
Unless Quake is required, of course.
Yeah, that might be the case. All right, so let's take a moment and reset for anyone that may have joined us. So, Moon Pearl was at the dig spot. Moon Pearl was at the dig spot. Chrouya forgot to, well, whether forgot or chose not to go to dig spot, and instead did Act 1, not finding anything there. So he fell behind there, and then in Thieves Town, we have both Hookshot and Cane of Samaria, and unfortunately, Chrouya also went out of Thieves Town after getting the hook shot and has still not gotten the Cane of Samaria. Now, in his favor, though, we did find the mushroom in Desert Palace, and that mushroom led to the Master Sword, and so far, Odinspack is still on Fighter Sword right now, so it's going to be interesting to see if we find the other swords, whether or not that gets, whether still being on Fighter Sword comes into play.
Yep, and another advantage for Chrouya is that they do have silvers, while Odinspack has not checked Agina's cave, which is where they were located.
Although I missed it earlier and caught it on the restream. We did find a Master Sword in Ice Palace, so we've at least gotten that. We've at least got Odinspack up to Master Sword at this point. But that will put Chrouya tempered when Chrouya gets it.
Yep, the one thing that admittedly Odin really needs to either find those silvers or find another sword upgrade by the end, though, because Master Sword Silverless Ganon is a long fight.
And since you have to use spins in order to damage Ganon, that also puts you at risk of falling down real easily. With Chrouya having that Master Sword, not worrying about using the menu simulator, just going 2 slashes on all those puffballs.
Yep, so with that, Chrouya is going to end up finishing Argus in faster, basically RTA run, especially if he gets this one silver shot off. Unfortunately, missed the first and second one. Manages to get it off, though.
And Chrouya is going to be right on Odinspack's tail heading into Ice Palace.
Even though it keeps them away from the cane, this will still help Chrouya out a lot because they will have the Tempered Sword. So many more enemies will just die in a single hit now.
All right, so Ranger of Void asking, is there anything that can make Chrouya go back to Thieves Town before he needs the cane? So he's been to Hera and hasn't found, and there was nothing there. Realistically, all that the hookshot would do is basically have Chrouya go up to Dark Death Mountain, and check everything that's up there. Mire, as long as if it's Ether or Quake, Chrouya could go into Mire, but wouldn't find without the cane, he can't get to Vitreous. So you're kind of hoping, if you're rooting for Chrouya, that he decides to not dip Mire until he has the cane, which pretty much would lead him to either Dark Death Mountain or back to Thieves Town.
Right, at this point, what Chrouya needs is really the best thing for him, even though it would also be great for Odin at this point, would be for Flute to be on Aghanim, because that will make it whereas Chrouya is forced to go clear Thieves Town, at least to get that red cane earlier than being able to go into Mire.
Oh, that's right. I completely forgot. You need the Flute to get to Mire in the first place.
Though actually, even if they find Flute somewhere else, if Meyer is bombos locked, that would also potentially give Chrouya a chance to go back into Thieves Town, or really be forced to go back into Thieves Town, I should say.
And Chad also pointing out that if Turtle Rock is where the flute is, which Odinspack can get into pending the medallion check, that would certainly be really bad for Chrouya, because with Odinspack already having the cane.
And to answer a thing from Rick, this dungeon can require the cane. It all depends on how the keys are positioned. If Cold Stare has a key, then this dungeon requires the cane. But if Cold Stare does not have a key, this dungeon does not require the cane in the logic.
Well, there's that key.
So it would require it.
All right. Let's see where Odinspack heads next.
Looks like they're going to go get their ether coin. And that makes sense because they want to have as high of a chance as possible before going to Turtle Rock. I suspect after they get the coin... Oh, no, they're opting to do the bomb.
Yeah, Swamp and Ice were the 5/6 crystals, so this makes sense. All right, here's Chrouya into Cold Stare. Chrouya, unfortunately, not having half magic, is going to have to burn all of it to get Cold Stare out of the cage, but he does get Cold Stare in a corner.
Yeah, went for the NMG poke dash, unfortunately being a little bit too far below Cold Stare to do it, but manages to clean him up just fine with that Tempered Sword. So, admittedly, one other thing to make note of is, even though Chrouya has not gotten the cane or a full cleared Thieves Town, both of our racers have the same number of crystal dungeons. Actually, not just the same number, but the same exact crystal dungeons cleared. So, overall, Chrouya's execution has been a little bit cleaner than Odinspack, and that also is helping him make up the time lost from the unfortunate routing decisions.
Yep. Chrouya is gonna head over to Ice Rock Cave and get the half magic. And actually, this is gonna be Odinspack's first trip up Death Mountain as he's getting the old man here. And to your point, this Odinspack heading up to Death Mountain, we know he's not gonna find a lot. So this is if Chrouya manages to go back to Thieves Town and get that Cane of Samaria, he can make up a lot of time here. But instead, electing to go up Death Mountain, and I imagine he'll be going Dark Death Mountain.
Yep, and To be fair, that does make sense for him at this point because it's, I believe, another 7 items that he can check. 8 if he decides to go do Spike Cave as well. And to answer chat, Chrouya ended up going through Hera and found both items in Hera and opted to mirror out rather than killing Moldorm.
Yeah, so we know we're not going to find much in Paradox Cave here. Super Bunny Cave, however, will be a different story, depending on what is here. We got $300 and $300.
Out of curiosity, we haven't seen actually what's on the floating island yet either, have we?
No, I think we did. I don't remember there being anything of importance there. Well, we got more money in Dark Death Mountain. Even more money. A heart container. And more cash.
So Dark Death Mountain just loves rupees today, apparently. And it is Ether for Turtle Rock, so Odinspack is going to have to go back to that Bombos tablet.
That will work out in Chrouya's favor at this point.
And Chrouya making the Spike Cave check, which, again, considering how little they actually got from Dark Death Mountain, I can understand this, because they gambled that Thieves Town doesn't have anything, so they don't want to go back there, but they're close to being forced, and they get Butter Sword.
All right, so so actually now that helps Odinspack out if Odinspack does do Spike Cave, because now Odinspack doesn't have to go back to Desert to get the mushroom to get a sword upgrade. He'll be at Tempered, and Tempered Sword Silverless is a little bit better compared to Master Sword Silverless.
Yep, it all depends on if they decide from leaving here, will they go to Spike Cave after they see that they need Ether, or will they opt to, or will they just opt to get Ether and do Turtle Rock?
The way Chrouya's heading, let's hope this is to go back to Thieves Town.
Admittedly, I don't think Chrouya... I think Chrouya may have exhausted all other locations at this point. Except for possibly seeing what's on Bumper Cave, because I know Odinspack did that. But without the cake, there really isn't much of a reason to go check it for Chrouya at this point.
And speaking of correcting your I was about to say correcting your mistakes, but Chrouya is heading to Bumper Cave. Odinspack, hopefully this is a Bombos check for him.
Alright, Chrouya is going to just find, I think it was a heart container on Graveyard Ledge. Meanwhile, yep, Odin's is indeed getting their Ether tablet, so I suspect with this, they'll be doing a save and quit and making their way into Turtle Rock looking for that flute.
Alright, so Chrouya found the heart container. Now we just need him to go back to Thieves Town.
Seeing just a Heart on Desert Ledge did not go to Agina's cave, so unfortunately they ran past their silver arrows, so they are still looking at possibly doing Master Sword Silverless Ganon.
Oh no, Chrouya is getting the lunchbox instead of heading to Thieves Town.
I admittedly had thought that they had already checked the purple chest, but apparently I was mistaken.
Odin's gonna do Ether Tablet here.
So they'll be getting their Fire Shield, at least. And to answer chat, the 2 sword upgrades that Odin has not found are from the Mushroom, which is in Desert, and Spike Cave has the other one.
Chrouya's gonna do Fat Fairy here. It was just 10 arrows on the floating island.
So I don't think Odin has checked Sahasrara, but I think only Green Pendant or Turtle Rock can have the flute at this stage.
Well, we're about to find out as Odinspack is heading into Turtle Rock. Chrouya really needs to go back to Thieves Town. Alright, we got Cape in Turtle Rock to start.
That could help out Odin, since they also have 3 bottles, if they do end up going to Master Sword Silverless, as it'll let them be able to hit Ganon with a few more spins during Phase 2 at the very least.
And finally, Chrouya is remembering to go back to Thieves Town.
Admittedly, I do hope... never mind. I now hope that they back out as soon as they get Cane, because Odinspack found Flute on the right side of Turtle Rock.
Yep. That warp was just to... That mirror was just to warp back quickly to get on his way through the rest of Turtle Rock. So, at this point, all we need to know is that if Meyer requires Bombos. If it requires Bombos, we need to find that. If not, we're in go mode. So, for all intents and purposes, if Odinspack does find Bombos in here, then he'll be in go mode because he'll have all of them.
Yep, and even if it does require Bombos and he doesn't find it in here, there's not too many locations left that Odinspack can check that could have it based off of what we know. At that point, I think it would be Mire Shed, Checkerboard Cave, or Sahasrara. Though Odin may end up opting to do Desert instead, which would give Chrouya a chance to catch back up, but also would give Odin a chance to get their Tempered Sword. Meanwhile, that fairy just not wanting Odin to pick it up.
Alright, there's the big key.
Now, hopefully Chrouya has been counting items, though this is the green pendant, so they may still, at this point, they may opt to just clear it and get the pendant rather than risk just bowing out again.
But he's gonna, well, was thinking about bowing out. He thought about it and actually hit the mirror button while he was in the door. And I guess he's just gonna go on. Which makes sense. If you've already double dipped Thieves Town when you didn't need to, and that one shot that Sahasula has an item, you don't want to triple dip this if you don't have to.
Yep. At this point, Chrouya just having some fun with those blocks.
And down goes blind for Chrouya.
Yep, meanwhile, Odin is heading towards the last half of Turtle Rock.
Still haven't found that Bombos medallion, though.
Yep, admittedly, hopefully for Chrouya, they opt to go to... I kind of hope they opt to go to Turtle Rock right now, though turning in that pendant could also pay off for them. And based off of where they're starting from, I think that is what they're opting to do.
Yep, turn in that pendant.
So, Chrouya needs this to be Bombos and Meyer to be Bombos locked, because then it'll take Odin a little bit more time before they end up coming back here, really. So that gives Chrouya just that little bit more time for their execution to help them make up time, but just a bomb bag upgrade.
All right, let's see if Laser Bridge has anything.
Odin taking the safety exit first, which that I can understand that, especially because if you aren't too familiar with trying to do hammer Trinex, or you aren't confident with you doing less than tempered Trinex, having that safety door can definitely help.
All right, just one more item here. We have not found Bombos yet. And actually, Chrouya is heading right for Turtle Rock. Okay, so we haven't found the map yet, so the map is going to be on Trinex, so we will not find Bombos here.
Which, at this point, I think if Bombos is needed, it's going to be in the Meyer area anyway, so it isn't going to end up, isn't going to end up buying Chrouya too much time. Really, what's going to be helping them the most would be if Odin opts to just skip doing Spike Cave, which I could fully understand at this stage. That would give Chrouya the biggest advantage because Butter Sword Silvers versus Master Sword Silverless, I believe that's a couple-minute time difference.
I mean, you're already seeing it right now with not having Tempered Sword and having to do hammer strats on Trinex is certainly causing problems for Odinspack. This could be the thing that starts to turn the tide in this race. Oh, Odinspack taking a death.
That's bad news for Odin, since they're going to have to head back and fight Trinex again, and they will. Well, they could powder one of the anti-fairies to get back to full life, but this definitely helps Chrouya make up some of their time loss.
Chrouya getting that flute. Here we go with round 2 Trinex.
Opting to just go with Master Sword Slashes at this point, that I can understand that, especially because again, if you aren't comfortable and practice with doing hammer, it can be very difficult on Trinex, especially because of hammer's weird hitbox. Meanwhile, Chrouya making quick work of the first part of Turtle Rock will be catching up to Trinex not too long from now.
Doing pretty good, and down goes Trinex.
Chrouya skipping the, vanilla big key chest. Wasn't that where the big key was, or am I mistaken?
I think it was. That's gonna cost some time here.
For Chrouya's sake, I hope I'm mistaken. Nope.
No, you're not.
Thankfully, it was very quick for the, okay, you need this, and that is the only chest it can be in.
Yep. All right, ladies and gentlemen, to honor Hyrule, please join us in the playing of the National Swagnuck Anthem. And ladies and gentlemen, the goose is loose. And Odinspack is going to head straight for Meyer. All right, moment of truth. What do we have for Meyer?
Odin's just going for it, assuming they've got it, and they do. It is Quake.
So we are officially in go mode for Odinspack.
And though Chrouya doesn't know it, they are also in go mode. though they unfortunately need to double back for that big chest because it has the small key they need.
I imagine that's what Chrouya is going to do right now. All right, so for all of the problems that Chrouya had, he is going to have the advantage of having butter and silvers. Odinspack at this point is going to be doing Master Sword silverless, so this could, for all the trouble Chrouya has had, this could be the thing that makes a difference in this race.
Yeah, especially because not just Ganon being faster, but even something coming up sooner, Chrouya's Trinex is going to go down faster, and his Victorious fight will be faster than what Odin is going to be able to pull off, unfortunately.
All right, so Odinspack has enough keys at this point. He's just got to find the big key, and he's on his way to Vitreous. All right, Chrouya is into the Trinex fight, and you will see the difference right here of Chrouya being able to one-cycle both of the heads.
And setting up for the quick kill, which unfortunately the Master Sword cannot do, but Tempered in Gold can get, and got bodied a little bit, but manages to kill Trinex very quickly overall still.
Odinspack missing the, there you go. If you hit the fire rod while those blocks are moving, you can actually get stuff through it, like either the fire rod shots, or if you're using a hook shot, you can even get yourself through there.
And Vanilla Big Key for Misery Mire. And though Odin is on their way to Vitreous, Chrouya is really not that far behind, because they're going to be in Misery Mire as well within probably the next in less than a minute now.
Yeah, Odinspack's Vitreous fight is going to be a lot more difficult than Chrouya's. Those silver arrows, you can just mow down those Vitreous eyeballs like they're nothing.
And even if Chrouya didn't have 50 arrows with Butter Sword and as many hearts and red mail as they have, they could do the NMG strat as they've been showing for some other things and just kill the eyes still potentially within one cycle. The one thing that could help Odin at this point would be if they end up mirroring out and checking Agina's cave, because getting those silvers would save them so much time on the Ganon fight, and even parts of Ganon's tower itself.
All right. For all of the problems Chrouya has had, he has officially almost caught up with Odinspack. They're in the same dungeon right now. Strap yourselves in, this race is just getting started. Although Odinspack using really blah words. Cape strats, good.
And with 8 arrow shots for Odinspack, Vitreous is now dead. So with that, Odin will be making their way to Ganon's tower.
And with that, we have a little game that we like to play on our ascent into Ganon's Tower, because there are 22 locations where that Ganon's Tower big key could possibly be. If you want to play our little game, you can put in a guess between 1 and 22 where you think that big key is. To be on the leaderboard, though, you either need to be subscribed to one of our speed gaming channels or have donated 50 bits, or 250 bits, sorry. Liminal T Carb, where do you think our big key is going to be today?
Part of me wants it to be on 22, partly because that would give Chrouya, honestly, I think that would give Chrouya the biggest advantage at this point, because that would mean Ganon's Tower is purely execution. But I'm going to guess it's probably only going to be chest number 3, based off of how the rest of the seat has actually been.
I'm going to go with number 19 and guessing Vanilla Big Key behind Ice Armos.
Thankfully, Chrouya not making the gamble to have this be their absolute last chest to check for the big key, so that'll pay off for them, thankfully.
Yeah, the rest of this race, you're gonna see what Butter Sword makes difference in terms of speed as opposed to Master Sword. All right, Chrouya's got that big key as Odinspack is opening up Ganon's Tower. And guesses are officially closed. All right, Odinspack is going to start right side first. Chest number 1. Small key. Chest number 2 is also a small key. CDV, thank you for the 250 bits. With those small keys, Odinspack is going to continue going right side. If the big key is not on the right side, this could be another way Odinspack catches up if he chooses to go left. All right, number 3, map. Number 4, piece of heart. Number 5, $50. Number 6, $50. All right, it is not right side. Chrouya just mowing down those Vitreous eyeballs with those silver arrows, and finishes off Vitreous as Odinspack heads to the left. Number 7, Piece of heart. Odinspack is going to pick it up. Rest in peace, Bob. Number 8. Small key, number 9. Triple bombs, number 10. Bombos medallion. Number 11, triple bombs.
So far, it's looking more and more like Armos Knights might have it. Could always be in the randomizer room, though.
And we still have plenty of places to check. Next up, double firebar room number 12. Piece of heart. If it is behind Armos, here's another place where having the silver arrows is going to help Chrouya out. All right, number 13. 50 bucks. We have random 14 through 17 coming up here in the randomizer room. Chrouya is in. 14. Piece of heart, 15. 5 arrow upgrade, 16. 300 bucks, 17. There it is.
So it's in the randomizer room. And with Chrouya going right side, it'll be a bit before they end up catching up to that. But they'll be. It looks like they're going to be doing the same play as Odinspack. So we will see how much the difference in execution will end up buying.
All right, so with 17, S. Andreas 316, you are the first sub or supporter to get that correctly guessed, so congratulations.
Oh, and Chrouya gambling that it's in tile room because they're feeling so far behind when they're actually not as far as they probably think at this point.
Certainly gonna hurt. The tension is certainly going to keep mounting as this race gets to its conclusion.
And that was our third shield upgrade. So hopefully Chrouya opts to check left side rather than going straight to Ice Armos from here. Otherwise, it will be the 20-second chest for Chrouya. Odin having a little bit of a problem with the cannonball bridge, but manages to make it through, opting not to go to the fairy room, which they have a good bit of life yet left. That makes sense.
And at 1 hour, 48 minutes, and 35 seconds, Odinspack is in the gauntlet. Chrouya does not go all the way to Ice Armos and will go left from here. So it'll be one additional check above what Odinspack did. Oh, Odinspack is getting mauled right now.
Yeah.
There you go.
The BMOs in the gauntlet are quite possibly the worst part of this entire gauntlet.
All right, so as Chrouya is checking double firebar room, Odinspack is into Lambo 2. Oh, and Odinspack having a lot of problems with Lambo. Gets one head down. Doesn't have enough magic to try to finish Lambo with the fire rod, though.
I was going to say, hopefully they stop using it, because they're going to need a bit of magic left over for the torches coming up, if nothing else. And I know they've got a red potion, and I think a bee in a bottle, but I do not remember what their third bottle has.
He's gonna get a little bit of magic there. Nicely done with the triple kill. Chrouya has the big key and will be on Odinspack's tail.
And with this, you're especially with the red horse head things, you're going to see the big difference between Master Sword and really even Tempered Sword at this point, since Tempered Sword would be one-shotting them as well. Owen's waiting for the torch to go out, since unfortunately with that earlier fall, they had to wait for it or else they would risk not being able to get through the door, or worse, getting stuck in the door as it fell.
All right. Chrouya gets into the gauntlet at 1 hour and 52 minutes, so we're about, it's about a 3-minute pace, I would say.
With that and the difference in these weapons, this could be a really close finish for between these two racers.
And the thing is, Odinspack is still checking, hoping he's gonna find either silvers or swords, but we know where they all are. He ain't finding them.
Yep, so that is one more thing that's going to end up giving Chrouya a little bit of an advantage.
He's gonna get the fairies here to get all of his magic and health refilled. And as Chrouya heads into Lambo 2, Odinspack heads into Trolldorm 2. And down goes Trolldorm for Odinspack.
And Moldorm's last possession was just the compass to this tower.
Very nice quad kill for Chrouya there. All right, 1 hour, 53 minutes, 42 seconds. Odinspack's at Attica 2. A nice double hit there.
Nice triple.
And down goes Aga 2.
I do not think Odin could have had that Aga 2 go any smoother for them.
All right. Ganon time, 1 hour, 54 minutes.
Here's, for Odin's sake, I hope they have practiced Master Sword Silverless, because it is not a fun fight.
All right, here we go. We're going to learn about cheese. And then it's time to cut Ganon down to size.
It's going to take 12 spins per phase for Odin to get to advance until phase 3.
You aim it right, you can get a double hit like Odinspack just did there. All right, and just like that, Chrouya has Aga 2 down right as Odinspack heads into phase 2. But Chrouya is only going to have to do 6 butter slashes. His phase 1 is going to be a lot faster. Strap yourselves in, here we go.
At this point, Odinspack needs Chrouya to fall, or else I don't think he's going to be able to make up the time gain that Chrouya has with those silvers and that butter.
Yeah, just like that. Chrouya is already into phase 2. Odinspack is into phase 3, uses his red potion, and Chrouya has caught up. He's at phase 3 as well.
Chrouya pulling ahead, having 1 extra hit in phase 3. With that and those silvers, Odin needs Chrouya to take an unfortunate fall. Otherwise, unfortunately, I think this may be this is right now Chrouya's match to lose at this stage.
Yeah, he's already got 1 silver hit. Does get the torch glitch. Oh, that could have been set up for a double, but he got hit by the fire. So we're at 3. And with that, Chrouya has come from behind to take the win. All right, Chrouya finishes it. Blah, words. Chrouya finishes with an official SRTV time of 1 hour, 57 minutes, and 29 seconds. Spam those GGs in chat. What a race.
Yeah, Chrouya basically doing an all dungeons run, managing to pull it off. Oh, and Odin taking an unfortunate fall while in the last phase.
That's gotta hurt.
Doing save and quit. I assume they're going to try to get the silvers, since Ganon did say it was in Light World.
This also may be to get some potions. We want to give a shout out to BBB Kermit for a 3-month tier 1 sub. Thank you very much. G Wig has a tier 1 sub for 2 months in a row. Thank you very much.
And with those blue potions, Odin is making their way back to round 2 of the Ganondorf versus Ganon fight.
Yeah, certainly Odinspack knows he's lost at this point, but you might as well finish this out, and this certainly is good practice for doing Master Sword Silverless.
Okay.
And we have Chrouya joining us in chat. GG.
GG. I don't know if that was well deserved. No. Well, I already said it in chat, but I felt like I was behind all the time since I did of course, the Aghanim 1 play.
You were, but do you want to know what made the difference?
Sure.
You basically got to Butter Sword and Silver Arrows from going to Desert and doing a Genis Cave. Odinspack never did that, so he's been on Master Sword the whole time.
Ooh, right.
Yeah, and their Master Sword came from Ice Palace, which around it, as I believe it was as Odin was finishing Ice Palace, you were also entering it. So you were a little bit behind, but your execution overall ended up helping you make up time, as well as having those additional weapons.
Right. Yeah. I was already glad that I found the sword, the first sword at Zora, and yeah, the Aghanim play was just. I felt like the seed was guiding me towards Aghanim, and I knew I skipped the shovel spots earlier on, so it was always on my mind, and I was like, well, if I forgot the shovel spot, then I would have been behind already. I felt like it was a play to get back ahead,
right?
And then,
well, and that makes sense, and that's kind of the thing with getting the mushroom when you did, like, so just out of curiosity, if the mushroom didn't have the Master Sword, would you have gone back to the shovel?
Yes, yeah, definitely. Because the sword gave me the opportunity to go Aghanim, and I had Lamp, I had, you know, all the necessary needs to go through there. I felt like I was running out of options. I think I also had the Ice Cave left.
Yeah, and that was just half magic.
Yeah, so I did check that later on after Ice.
The other thought was noping out of Thieves Town before getting the Cane of Samaria.
Right. So this is actually very similar to Gesellschaft, who also, well, who lost because of the quick dip into Thieves Town and then realizing that there was actually like a second and third item there.
Yeah,
this is all like the perspective of me being behind. I need to do quick plays and hope it works. Need to, you know, just save time wherever possible.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, everything did not work out. Happened to double dip that and guessing or going for the tile room in Ganon's Tower first because I still didn't see a dun. So I was like, well, if there's no dun, then my opponent either had low equipment or had like the worst, you know, route possible. So I was going for the worst routes.
Yeah, but I mean, like as Liminalty said, your execution certainly that and the Butter Sword certainly got you back into this race.
Yeah, the Butter Sword did help, and I really wish that the Spike Cave was the cane instead of a sword, but I guess it did help in this situation.
Let me get a quick shout out to Talaruby for a 3-month tier 1 sub. Thank you very much.
So I take it he also does not have the Spike Room sword, or?
Nope, he didn't do that one either.
Right, right. Yeah, I was on edge the moment I went to Turtle Rock, or the first time I went up there without the cane, and then going back to Thieves Town and realizing that the big chest had the cane. I was like, yeah. I even wrote in my own chat. I was like, it's over. I was so thinking that I made like Aghanim is a 6-minute or so time loss, so. The closer I got to Ganon's tower, I was like, something must have gone wrong with my opponent. Either he had also gambled on Aghanim's tower, which I doubted, or I was indeed thinking that maybe his Ganon fight is taking a long time.
Yeah, and it was basically his execution up the gauntlet with having just the Master Sword and no silver arrows kind of just was bogging him down throughout the process.
Right, yeah.
Sorry, M. Coaster, we also want to shout out you for a Twitch Prime sub. Thank you.
Where was the powder? Because I did not see where that was.
That I do not recall, unfortunately, because I believe I thought you had checked all the same spots that Odinspack had, but I do not recall where that was, because it wasn't in Ganon's tower.
Okay, so maybe it was.
I think it was Meyer, because the only difference was Odinspack didn't do all of Meyer when Chrouya, I think you did skipped a couple of the chests.
Yeah, I didn't go the right side with the big chest and that one chest close to it. It could also be like in Ice Palace because I forgot the last chest. Well, that one was also a very, very gambled play because I had like a faint memory that someone said like Cold Stare can't have a key, but he definitely can. So I thought that Cold Stare would have the last item, which was not true. So it could have been in Ice Palace.
Yeah. We were having a discussion in chat because of that. If that key is on Cold Stare, that basically means Cane of Samaria is required for Ice Palace.
Right. So it did want you to go there to Thieves early. Yeah. Ooh, no torch glitch. Quite rough.
Yeah.
Emily, I haven't been counting, but I think he's close to the 24 hits needed for Master Sword.
So was he on his first attempt when?
No, second.
He was on his first attempt when you were at Ganon. You ended up getting into Phase 3 around the same time, and you pulled ahead. And with that, Odinspack has defeated Ganon, Master Sword Silverless.
GG's to him for putting up with that.
Wow, good game.
He is going to walk through that door at an official SRTV time of 2 hours, 8 minutes, and 33 seconds. Spam those GGs in chat. Yeah, basically on his first attempt, you both were going into Phase 3 at the same time.
Right. Oh yeah. That's where the change in time really kicks in. Yeah, mad respect for attempting the silverless Ganon without going back and checking for the arrows.
Yep, we will see if we can get him in here for an interview. And joining us in chat is Odinspack. GG.
GG.
GG, man.
Oh yeah, GG. I quite enjoyed that. I'm not gonna lie, but I lost, so you know.
How you feeling?
You know, I wonder what would have happened if I didn't die on Trinex, and I remembered to grab Ether before going up Death Mountain, because I meant to do that, I just didn't. I know that's cost me a lot of time, so...
So, you want to know what the difference was in the race?
I'm gonna say tempered, maybe?
So, yes, but here's basically the story of the race. Chrouya did AGA 1 before going to the dig spot to get the Moon Pearl.
Oh, wow.
But because of doing all that time on the Moon Pearl, he got the silver arrows at Aegina's Cave and got the mushroom in Desert Palace, which led to a sword upgrade.
Oh, man.
And the other sword upgrade was in Spike Cave.
Oh, okay. I was gonna go there too. I meant to do that after Turtle Rock, and I didn't go in. I was going to. Oh well.
I mean, basically, you held the lead for the majority of this race, but the fact that Chrouya had Butter Sword and Silvers, it was just kind of an inch by inch catching up to where he hit Phase 3 right as you were hitting Phase 3 of Ganon.
Right. That's crazy, though.
I was so for sure. I was thinking I was going to lose here.
I fell on Ganon too, and I saw you finish just as I fell. I was like, okay, well, you know what? I'm gonna just go get stuff so people can see me finish this.
hey, mad props to you. Master Sword Silverless is like the toughest boss fight there is, and major props to you for finishing it out.
Thanks, I appreciate that. I was when I didn't do Torch Glitch second time, like, oh boy, this is gonna be a long fight. But no, that was a really fun seed. I'm glad progression kind of just kept going. There was a couple times where I didn't have to go on Death Mountain forever. That was pretty funny. But yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah, because Chrouya basically did all dungeons, because he did Desert and did Hera, and pretty much cleared all of them.
Well, I did skip out of Hera after getting the 2 chests.
Yeah, there was that.
I'm guessing it had nothing in there.
That's a hard container and a hard piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't much.
Much love.
Oh, and the other thing Chrouya forgot to do was in Thieves Town, he immediately noped out when he got the hook shot and forgot to go get the Cane of Samaria.
You know what? I was thinking, I was like, what if he goes in here, grabs the hook shot, and leaves? And I was just like, I kept going. Like, I didn't think Cane of Samaria was going to be in there. But when I got Cane of Samaria, that, like, was my thought process right there. I was like, wonder if he left right away. But,
yeah. I mean, it's a common play to just leave after.
Of course, yeah, I was going to do it, too. I was definitely going to.
It's so juicy if to just get one item and just leave.
Yeah.
Well, the good news is for both of you, you are still alive in the Swiss stage, because it's you can still get into the bracket stage as long as you have 2 losses. So you're still in Odinspack at 1 and 2. Chrouya, you move up to 2 and 1 at this point.
Yeah, once again, GG.
Yeah, GG, man. That was an awesome
I
race.
like how it was. It ended up being a close race, so.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. It must have been a fun watch. So
It certainly was. I would recommend both of you go back and watch the VOD. It was very interesting to see how that race unfolded.
yeah, I'm definitely gonna watch it back. I just want to see how our routes diverged, for sure.
So, all right. Well, any final thoughts for either of our runners?
Good luck in the rest of the tournament. You know, I got some catching up to do, but you know, this is how it goes. Someone's got to win, someone's got to lose. So
yeah, I'll probably keep doing the Thieves Town gamble, even though I don't know. It's tricky. Randomizer is tricky.
no, honestly, I think you made the right play. I got some some lucky guesses, really.
Well, Aghanim 1 was definitely not the right play. Let me tell you that. I'll avoid that for later races.
All right. Well, Liminalty Carb, any final thoughts from you?
Just again, congratulations to you both for finishing, Chrouya for winning, Odinspack for managing to get through that Master Sword Silverless Ganon fight, and for going through as much with just Fighter Sword as you did.
Yeah, I don't remember when I got my second upgrade, to be honest.
Ice Palace.
It was Ice Palace? Okay.
All right, well, shout-outs to both Chrouya and Odinspark. Please be sure to give a follow to both of them on Twitch. Let's also give a shout-out to our tracker, Jighart. Did a great job keeping track of all of those items. Be also sure to give a follow to my co-commentator, Liminalty Carb.
And also one to Jax. Again, thank you all for watching. There are, I believe, a few more races in this round later on today.
Yep, we have 2 at 6 p.m. Eastern, 1 on Speed Gaming 3 between Minochi85 and Lyra. We also have on Speed Gaming 5, Scooter 48812 versus Ryan Clark Bar. And then right here on Speed Gaming at 6:30, we will have Imusaro versus Don Venerer. Why am I butchering that name? But so we have those 3 races, and that will close out round 3 of the Swiss stage. And starting tomorrow, we will be into round 4 of the Swiss stage. So be sure to stay tuned to all of the Speed Gaming and ALTTP randomizer channels. And with that, we are going to wrap up shop here. Thank you very much for watching, and you all have a great evening.